Welcome. We are here with Erik Wolff, COO from ICT AG, and we want to talk a little bit about the current situation, COVID-19, and what it means for the event business, obviously for digital signage, for a fixed installation like we have here with Mercedes-Benz, but also
which is retail.
Which is retail, absolutely. But also talk about what's the future of events and exhibitions are, because as you all know, that's quite a challenging topic currently. Most of the trade shows, most of the exhibitions have been cancelled. Most of them probably will be cancelled until the end of the year, probably longer. So what is the future of live communication and digital? That's what we're here for. Erik, welcome. Thank you. Great you're here. So COVID-19, now 5 months down the road, what does it mean for your business and what does it mean for the industry?
Well, for the business in 2020, it's actually the same like it is for everybody else in the business. There's no business. And there's no business like it. That's also true. Because we all had a massive decline in turnover since COVID started in Europe. No trade show, no big event, no mass events like football or entertainment, concerts, cinema. Nothing's working at all, and so is the P&L concerned with every part of the industry. Every player is heavily under pressure. The shutdown means maybe you're saving on the HR expense, but the whole operation at the other end is still working, and that's consuming cost.
But that's not really solving the problem, as we know. Yes, you can reduce costs temporarily, but at the end of the day, we need to do marketing. Brands need to do marketing, and they need to find something which maybe replaces, traditional exhibition or so. So is virtual the next big thing?
It would be nice if it is, because it's obviously very cheap. Because you can do everything in a machine, but that's misleading. The main problem that we're facing today is neither COVID nor is the upcoming recession. The key issue that we have to deal with is the massive decline on visitors. I mean, if you're used to like a regular trade show with, let's say, 100,000 visitors during a 4, 5, or 6 days show, this is going down now, if the trade show is taking place, by 70 to 80%. That means from the over the years acknowledged 100K visitors, you got left, say, 20,000, maybe 25,000, and that means you have a cost issue.
Yeah, but not only that. I mean, we're talking about serious issues. I mean, below break even, whatever. So the question is, does it still really make sense to have a trade show? Like
Absolutely. This? So if you're coming with the question or with the proposal running a virtual show, the virtual show means you do the entire environment in a machine. That means you're programming a 3D model. That also means everything within the room is programmed. So every exhibit, every machine. Maybe sometimes it's easy because the machine itself exists as the 3D model already from the design phase. But everything else has to be programmed and put into the machine. And beside the enormous amount of programming and design cost, at the end, staff from the supplier, the exhibitor, and the visitor, they are both also in the machine, which means it's an avatar that you're using, and to be honest, who really like that. And at the end, look into the quality. The only scenario that we today see that's really impressing and really makes fun is what we see from Hollywood. And guess what the production costs are?
Very expensive.
So we're dealing with many clients, with many partners, and they all suggest that we go with a virtual solution, not having cost in mind, not also having the show in mind, and we then ask what format, which other show do you recommend that we adopt? And there's none. There's no virtual trade show, there's no virtual showroom or retail really working. so far.
I mean, we all remember Second Life. I mean, unbelievable, horrible. And now I saw some new suggestions, from the industry. Oh, let's go back to a Second Life thing. I think that's absolutely, nobody wants it. People are sick of video conferencing. They have Zoom fatigue, as we say. They're just sick of just having everything virtual. So I think it needs to be more a combination of real showroom and digitalizing.
Absolutely, and that's for two reasons. The one is, and we have performed a number of interviews. I would say it's more than 60. Exhibitors, the top 500 in Europe. It's a large portion of suppliers doing actually the trade shows, equipping that. And we did interview them. And what was coming up is, what is the key of meeting person to person? Say we're meeting on a press conference, okay, that's maybe something we can do over TV solution. But if we're talking about a deal, I would like to see you. I would like to know, are you getting nervous or are you getting familiar with things? Do we have what we call the chemistry? Is this working well? And if we're doing a deal, and many trade shows are order shows, you visit your supplier just to make sure it's the right choice, and then you place an order of whatever lump sum, but it's almost a lot of money that you're spending, and you want to rely not only on the facts, you also want to rely on your gut feeling, and this is something a trade show and a physical event offers. It's the personal relationship, it's the experience. Everything that has to do with events is also about participating, the audience, having the feeling around the audience, the people.
It's engagement, it's networking, it's all of these things where you need face-to-face contact, which you cannot really, or just difficult virtualize. Or especially now after 4 months, they want to meet real people again.
Absolutely, and now look, we are talking about, say, a technical device. You want to see it, you want to touch it, you want to feel it. Maybe you would just like to experience the texture of the surface. You want to experience the kind of the metal finish of some products. Yes, there's a lot of technology, like high-end cameras. They might capture that, but the feeling, that is not going through the network or the line,
Yeah, funnily enough, because we're here still at Mercedes, as everyone can see, and the most important things which you cannot really configure online is really the color of the car, the interior, the leather, and the rims. So these are the three features customers, still need to experience in real life, what they don't like to, select on the iPad.
The test drive. I mean, what is the test drive? Nowadays, maybe the test drive has to do with a driving experience, but it's a very sensual thing. You want to feel the material, you want to smell it somehow.
Depends what kind of car you buy.
Okay, but altogether, it's a very sensual thing, and it's your personal impression that you want information to gather. Do you really feel good with it? And that means we're looking for a more physical and a more real environment, and that's coming back to your question. That is the guideline for future presentations using hybrid technologies, the real environment, and video technology, making it interactive. But what comes with this is a kind of authenticity. If you can see us through the camera, you can see us as individuals, as human beings within a very room. There's no programming needed. You can experience us. And if you now can place a question towards us, as we discuss, it would feel almost like you would be sitting over there. And that's exactly what we're looking into. The highest level of authenticity as possible. And something else, it's the low barrier of entry. Who want to deal with a controller, or who want to deal with complex software just to accommodate and run some interaction? If we are sitting here, we just can talk about it and we can test something and we just act. within a technical environment, that's more difficult nowadays.
But Erik, everything you suggest sounds very expensive. It sounds like broadcasting. I mean, the whole DSS show will be broadcasted, from one of your hybrid spaces. So that's a great example. And that's the reason we also meet here today. But is it possible to offer something which is kind of affordable, which is not broadcast?
I think so. Yes. We always say you need a producer rather than a 4K camera, because to be honest, if you're using Zoom or Teams or whatever platform for the video connectivity, I mean the signal is what, HD, SD? Well, it's not 640 by 480, but at least it's a much lower signal than broadcast. And don't look for the technology. You don't need to have the latest XYZ camera with the high super duper whatsoever. It's a regular camera. Maybe it's a mid-sized camera for, I don't know, $1,500 or so. This is something people wouldn't experience and couldn't determine what material was used just for the production. But what you can really see is there a storyboard within the story? Does it follow a track? I mean, we discussed the interview beforehand, and we know that talking to the audience, some things are required to make a decent show. I mean, well, it's no entertainment at this point, it's a business talk, but at least this follows some rules. And a good producer or someone who is using that role to take care for a good setup on the environment, and make a story but visible, or let's say conscious for the audience, that makes a good show being a good show. And it's not the TV camera, sorry.
And Erik, I think it's very important to mention, because many people think, the longer the better. That's definitely not the case. That's also one of the biggest learning points also for us, to make things shorter. Usually our conferences are 2 days, 8 hours per day, 16 hours, full of program, many tracks and everything. But when we, started talking about, this program this year, we said, it needs to be shorter. The segments needs to be, 5, 10, maximum 15 minutes, because people have a different mindset when they watch something on their screen at home or in their office. So
that's definitely true. We experienced that. I mean, you spoke about the Zoom fatigue. It's not about Zoom at this point. Actually, it's about the TV set or the screen that you have in front of you. We experienced that people using it for 90 minutes intensively are kind of exhausted afterwards. So being concentrated for at least 90 minutes is something very demanding. And I wouldn't go for that we should cut everything down to 10 to 15 minutes. But
the variety. Not the whole thing should be 12 minutes,
yeah,
but you need variety. So you need smaller segments and change in time.
And also you need to have breakouts that are reasonable. So let's say do a 90-minute show, which is a long one. At least you need half hour or full hour break before the next session starts. I mean, this also from the conferences. Visiting a conference or a trade show is always something that's really exhausting. But if you now concentrate on what is on your screen, it's maybe 15-inch if it's a notebook, and it's 30 or something.
Hopefully it's 50-inch in your meeting room.
But even so, I mean, if you're concentrating on a flat screen for an hour or two, sometimes you're exhausted. And we have to reference this and adopt shows to that. So it's 1.5 hours, and then you need a break of an hour or so.
And the storyboard needs to be engaging. So that's important. So that's not just a frontal presentation, because people get tired of this one. It needs to be interactive, if it's possible at least, or at least engaging. So it incorporates the viewer on the other side.
Yeah. We think that it has to be interactive. A traditional broadcast format like this is, this now is an interview situation where no one from the audience could place a question or make a side comment or even clap the hands or something. We need this. We need the interaction to make it crisp, to make it more like real. And think about that. If you only film it with the camera and get the sound with it, it's just a YouTube video, and there's thousands of it. No, it's zillions. It's zillions of it, But as a matter of fact, everything is in the net and everything's, I guess, on YouTube, but nobody's really using it. So again, the necessity and the wish and the desire of people meeting at a specific location, at a specific timing or time frame for 2 days, is that they want to use this occasion because it's only happening once.
Exactly, it needs to be unique. So
Absolutely.
it's something, there must be a reason to watch it live and not to watch it 2 months later.
What makes it live? It's not making a video out of it.
No,
it's an interactive action, and that means having either chat or questioning and answering those questions, and maybe sometimes using that for a poll or something, or get a feedback from the audience, or maybe choosing like, should we now discuss more like economic figures, or should we enter now more into business details? And that could be something that on an interaction mode is coming from the audience, and that makes it really interactive. Cool. And that's the difference to YouTube.
So the future of conferences is hybrid?
We think so, yes. What else is the difference? There's less technology. It's sometimes easier. You don't need to have the super duper studio. You need to have a good story, good people talking to each other, making it interactive. I won't talk about those influencers equipment because they are also highly equipped by now, but it's average prosumer technology, but used in a professional manner.
With a good storyboard.
With a good storyboard.
Thank you, Erik.
Thank you.